So your family hates America.
Not saying that.
So not even during 9/11 were y'all wanting to be patriotic. Hi, welcome to another episode of JK But Gay, where today, because it is 4th of July weekend, we thought we would be a little bit more festive with this topic this week.
Yeah.
And talk about America but gay, since this beautiful country that we live in. I thought it'd be really interesting to kind of have this conversation. We talk about things like patriotism and when we feel most patriotic and just what Independence Day and 4th of July means for us. So actually, we were thinking about this topic and I was like, what is the first? Hi, Jake. Sorry.
I know. Fuck my drag. Damn. I'm just here like.
I'm like, so this is my friend that's here today. How are things? How are you feeling today?
I'm great.
You're in a little summer fit. Look at you.
I got my red, white, and blue on.
Me too.
Like, yeah. Look at us.
I know.
Look at you looking like you look like the 4th of July.
Put you on a hot dog real bad. So when I was thinking about this topic and, what we could talk about, I was like, there are some things that America does that are just like really gay. Right?
Oh, all the time.
Like there's certain, like all
the time.
Like football. Football is really gay.
They get to touch each other. They get to tackle, fall on one another.
They're wearing really tight, like the positions are wide receiver, tight end. Yeah.
Running back. I'm like, that's quarterback.
We're gonna make, but still, it's like that's like really, really gay. But I was thinking about things that America does that's really gay. Fireworks is another thing I think about.
Massively gay.
Fireworks is really gay. Like nothing makes me feel more gay than having like a Roman candle in my hand and like just having it go like, like when it goes off.
Since we've been like 8.
Right.
Like every New Year's, 4th of July.
You always had to go. And I would always walk to the end, like to the edge by myself. So it would just be the only thing in the sky. And you would just like, see it and you're like, yep. Yeah. That's my favorite firecracker.
Really? Mm-hmm. I just like a general, what are they called? Like the general firework.
Yeah.
What is it called?
The ones you put in the tube?
Yeah.
And you light it and it goes.
Yeah. Whatever that's called. But even those are just like gay.
Yeah.
Like the colors.
Yep.
And they're always
the festive, the colors. Sound, the dramatics. That is all really,
the drama.
Really gay. Yeah.
Of it all.
Yeah.
I think also like when I think about it, I'm like parades are actually pretty gay too.
Oh yeah.
Like why we gotta have a St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
4th of July parade.
4th of July. Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like
a pride parade.
I mean, that one's a given. But Fiesta, Battle of the Flowers.
Yeah.
For those of you who aren't from San Antonio, we have a fiesta every year and we have 2 parades. Yeah. And it's like everyone is like telling us, this is me and this is what I'm proud of. I'm like,
right. Yep.
And I love it.
Well, then you decorate your float and then it's like a theme. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. I love a parade. I'm not dogging them, but it's just inherently gay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually something that's really gay. And I think about that all the time because I'm like, there are some things in America that are just probably gayer than people realize that they are. Right. And they don't realize where they come from or even, I think that like parades, not that came from the gay community, but it's still really gay.
Right. Like the military parades.
Yeah. Yeah, you're coming in and showing everybody what you got, right? It's like
you're proud of.
We're gonna put our biggest machines out here, and we're just gonna flaunt it.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's funny to think about that because when I think about patriotism, I starting from the beginning about like if I was patriotic, I don't remember my family being particularly, or even my community being particularly patriotic until 9/11. 9/11 is when I remember people were like, because everybody was kind of just like it was a united time in our country after that.
Yes.
Which is why they were allowed to take all of our rights away. But that's for a different episode. But I think of that moment as like when it was really patriotic. Like I remember my family having like a flag outside of our house. And it felt really patriotic for me too. But yeah.
I don't think I had that. It definitely felt American because of the unity and like. I felt like for one, and I'm speaking because I also have a huge bias on like where we are today in society.
Right.
But like back then, I just remember, and granted, I was 4th grade? Were we 4th grade or 5th grade?
What?
When 9/11 happened.
4th.
Right? And then, 4th grade. And I do remember there was like a sense of we're all one. Like, we're a strong country. We're going to get through this. Things of that nature. But like we didn't have flags. I don't think ever. I don't think like
so your family hates America.
Not saying that.
So not even during 9/11 were y'all wanting to be patriotic. But no, you're saying that's a San Antonio. That was a San Antonio thing.
Well, I think specifically for me because there are
military city USA. Come on,
right. I think also we were just like we were in that unity, but we weren't necessarily like showcasing the patriotism from us. Well, and I speak from my own family because there was a lot of families, and I think ultimately like in the San Antonio region, being military city USA, it's like. It was a huge deal, but like growing up, I don't remember ever feeling like very patriotic. It was just like this is where I live. This is my home. Except around like July 4th, and we would go to like Old Navy and get the shirt.
Yeah, us too. My mom would put me in that
time.
shirt every year.
Yes.
Next year we should have wore the shirts.
Like, I don't even know where I have no idea where mine are.
No, they release a new one every year. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, like get the shirts.
Yeah.
We should
get it and like wear them because they still release them.
Yeah.
Old Navy still does that
every year.
That's an American tradition, right? So, you know what else is what I just thought about was really gay that America does is the hot dog eating contest. America does a hot dog eating contest on the 4th of July.
How many wieners can they eat?
Let's see how many you can
without
eat
throwing up.
Without throwing up, and you're like, that's so gay. Like what? Whose idea was that?
And isn't it Nathan?
It's all. Does it gross you out? It grosses me out. I can't watch it.
I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest.
Oh, so you've never seen what they do?
No, I just always find out like how many did they eat, and I'm like, yo, you ate 100? Is it usually hundreds, right?
I don't know.
I want to say maybe it's 100, but like that in like.
But to make them soggy, they like dip them in their drinks.
Yes,
so they're able to eat them.
I have seen like clips of them doing that, and I'm like, because I don't do the whole. Do you like put food in your mouth and then put soda?
Never.
One of my best friends does that, and I'm like. Oh my gosh!
Oh.
I'm like, he's gonna know who.
Well, and then you're gonna then you feel it getting soggy in your mouth.
Yes, it's so nasty. Usually when I eat, I realized this recently. I don't really drink. Like whether I have my water, like it's a water,
it just gets in the way.
Right. I'm just like, just take it. I don't need water.
I'm here to eat
the food.
Yeah. Put you in the hot dog eting contest. See how that goes.
I'm gonna win year one.
Yeah, but that's like really gay. Doing the hot dog eating. So as a kid, what did you do as for 4th of July?
It was usually like a barbecue. Barbecues are really gay, I feel. Maybe it's just because I was there.
Are they? What makes them
I don't know.
gay?
Just because I did them.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So a lot of things are gay. Sitting right now is really gay. I know, that's the way we sit. So yeah, for us though, in my hometown, in my beautiful hometown of Monahans, Texas, we have a festival every 4th of July that's called the Freedom Fair. Oh. And so all of my family would go. You can go every year, and I think they still do this. Hopefully they do, but we sit in the same spot every year. Like everybody takes their blankets and just sits down, and then around the park are different like vendors and stuff.
Oh,
that's literally cool. What you do. And then at night, in my hometown, you can only pop fireworks, or it used to be this way. You can only pop fireworks in one spot. So everybody would be in one spot. Area. And it's always really dangerous because you know, something's going to fall, and like someone was always hurt. Someone's always getting hurt, and like things are happening. They're so dangerous. Fireworks are so dangerous.
Oh yeah. I had a family member, if I remember correctly. I think it was New Year's, but same thing. With fireworks, like they almost burnt their finger off.
Yeah.
Like, or
it's gunpowder.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I did.
It's gunpowder.
Yeah, I did. I know some things.
Yeah. I'm just making sure. Just making conversation since we have a podcast.
Wait, but question real quick.
Yeah.
On those festivals, when you said like you had a specific spot, like the family had a specific spot? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like we had a certain
on assigned seat?
We had a certain spot we would sit every year. We would get every year. And if I remember correctly, I think my family still does that. And so everybody goes, and that's the festival during the day, and then you take a break, and then at night you go pop fireworks.
Oh, that's cool.
And we never had an assigned section at the firework area. It was just like whoever first come, first serve.
Got it.
But you could drive by there, and it's like
packed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's not. I feel like in San Antonio, as long as you're outside of the city limits, you can pop fireworks, right?
At any time.
See, and you can't do that in my hometown. Yeah. I think the only place where you could do it, it's like they control it. They control it, and then they they clean it up nicely the next day. Like they just put everything in the middle the next day. They're watering it so that they make sure that it's not like a fire hazard. It's actually really controlled. It's a smart idea, whoever came up with it.
That actually is.
Yeah.
And even if like, God forbid something happened, but like, I feel like everyone knows like you need to have like first aid or like
And if
emergency
I
people
remember correctly,
ready to go.
I think the ambulance is already there. Like everybody just kind of hanging
Yeah.
out. The fire trucks are already there. So
Yeah.
it's a controlled area in my hometown. But yeah, fireworks. Thinking about fireworks and thinking about 4th of July, those were always my favorite memories as a kid. But I just now that I'm older, do you pop fireworks?
No, I'm cheap.
Yeah, but not just being cheap. That's actually being smart. Such a waste of money.
It is. So there are many times so I love fireworks.
Yeah.
Period. But this is very like cheap of me, I guess, whatever. I'm very cool but like seeing
You're very what?
Codo?
Te hice culo.
No.
That too.
I have one.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah.
When I tell you like you're culo,
No.
it means you're scared.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, that I didn't know.
You're like, I know culo, but I don't know.
Right,
I don't know the scared version.
I don't know her.
Like no seas culo means like don't be scared.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Learn things every day on this podcast.
It's supposed to be a Latino podcast, but it's not about the language, as we've learned.
Right.
It's
Don't
not about
piss
the
me off, Kendra.
Don't piss me off.
No, but like I will see fireworks and I'm like, damn, that was a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's usually like Six Flags or like the inauguration. I'm like, I love it. It looked beautiful.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, is that what my dollars are paying? That's literally where my mind goes. For whatever fucking reason. I don't, but like this is like the first time I'm saying it out loud. Usually I'm just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but you vote like that. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I don't.
Hey everyone, just a quick reminder. If you're watching, don't forget to like the video. And if you're listening, leaving us a review goes a long way. But honestly, the biggest way you've helped us grow so far is by sharing the show. So if you're loving it, send it to someone that you think would love it too. Now back to the show. So I really wanted to do this topic because I think it's really interesting because as gays, it's kind of hard to be patriotic at sometimes when you have a country, and even Latinos, and especially Latino gays, it's hard to be proud or patriotic about a country that is sometimes legislating against you, and like living in a state like Texas where they're legislating against us and our, for women, they're legislating against our bodies. It's hard sometimes to be patriotic, but I think that doesn't mean that we can't be patriotic. Just because we're gay and just because we're progressive individuals doesn't mean that we can't be patriotic, which is why I'm so happy that Cowboy Carter's doing what it's doing this summer. Yes. Because we're like reclaiming it back. Because like when you see someone on social media and they have like the flag, I'm like, oh, like they must like hate everybody.
Gays.
Yeah. They must hate gays and people of color. But I'm glad that we're sort of taking that back. But before I go off on another tangent, but thinking about I was thinking about patriotism in like moments that I felt most patriotic. Mm-hmm. And I think like I feel most patriotic probably around, you'll see my shirt right now, during the Olympics. Like I get like, it's very rare where I'm like USA, but during the Olympics, there's something about seeing Simone Biles do your Checo double pike that makes me be like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think about that because I was thinking, when are the times where I feel most patriotic? It's then. Weirdly enough, recently, I felt really patriotic when the Pope was elected, and it was like the first American Pope.
Yeah.
I was like, like, but that's not anything that like I'm not like that in any other capacity. But what about you? When do you feel most patriotic?
I would definitely say the Olympics too, because like, especially this recent one. Where was it? Paris?
Really?
Because Beyonce had her Yaya thing in there. Oh. And that was just like, oh my gosh, like I feel so proud.
I'm so mad at myself for not wearing that shirt right now.
Damn.
I have that shirt, remember?
And you didn't wear it?
The oversized
Are
one?
you even a fan?
Anyway. Sorry, I interrupted your little monologue, but yeah. So
but that's definitely a time too for me. And you're right. Like I have no idea what's going on. I don't know how the ratings work, but like just seeing like Simone Biles and Gabby and like how much like, damn.
Gabby Thomas?
Yeah.
How you know track? I didn't know you know track like that. It's the UT connection. You know she went to UT. Well, no.
Yes. No.
She went to grad school at UT.
Yes.
She's an MPH.
Yes.
Isn't that what you know?
Yeah. Because she's like, she does, I forgot what her title is.
We love Gabby Thomas.
Yes,
so, I love track
because of UT. But I think also for me, there aren't many times where I do feel patriotic because of what you were saying, as far as like being queer and identifying in that sense in America, especially in today's time.
Yeah.
But I will say, I do think I feel really patriotic when I hear like the national anthem. Like what, and it could be wherever I am at, like a baseball game or we do it We do it all the time now. I think
we
about
do it way too much.
Yeah.
We sing the national anthem for everything. It drives me crazy. I'm like, why are we singing the national anthem at a kindergarten graduation?
Yeah. Yeah.
What is wrong with that? Like what?
Everywhere. We do it everywhere.
It's weird.
I don't necessarily understand it, but like, I guess,
Other countries don't do that.
I'm not surprised.
They don't. Like
I'm not surprised at all.
I used to work for a foreign government, and when they would come here and see us do that, they'd be like, "What are y'all doing? Like that's weird." Yeah, and it was really weird.
Yeah, I think in those moments, I'm like, I am proud, especially like at the very end when they're the brave part, and if someone does like a badass run, I'm like,
oh, when they're singing it.
Yeah.
So it has to be sung. It's not like if they're just playing the audio, will you not get?
It depends.
Got it.
But most of the time, it's like if someone's singing it like very well, I'm like, damn, like I am proud to be an American. But recently, it's like if someone's flying a flag, you're like,
yeah,
it's become a symbol.
You know, it's a racist ass song, right?
Yeah.
You're like, but I love it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things in the U.S.
No, but for me, it's the singing of it because for background, for those of you that don't know, it is the second verse of the national anthem, which most people don't hear. It's not. I don't think it's a part of the official national anthem. Is about slavery.
Yeah.
Which is why there's been an effort to have America the Beautiful, which is just as beautiful. I think America the Beautiful. When someone sings it, it sounds so good.
Yeah.
But thinking about the national anthem because that's really gay. Doing the national anthem before, gay. Like that's when the Super Bowl you're like watching it, but. Yeah. If we think of like our favorites, what's your favorite rendition of the national anthem? You can't say before you say anything. You can't say Whitney because I feel like Whitney's is above everything else. She's the standard for the national anthem.
I love
like she's like sweating and like her little jumpsuit.
We know why she was sweating,
and we know why she was in a jumpsuit. She was a lesbian.
True.
You see?
That is very true.
The sweating part you can't associate with us, but the jumpsuit put us in.
It's us,
right?
Fergie.
You tried it. You really tried it. If anybody's never seen that, go look up the Fergie national anthem and you'll know exactly what he means.
Where was it at? I don't even remember where it was at. Basketball?
It was at the NBA.
It was at the finals, no?
It was I thought it was the All-Stars game. But the best part is when they're panning on the players and the players can't hold it together.
Yeah, they're like laughing.
They're like trying to laugh. That is the best part. But pobrecita.
I know. Poor
My favorite one besides Whitney, I loved Beyonce's obviously, but Beyonce's is really good. Hers was in Houston, and when the Super Bowl was there in 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Beyonce's was really good. Mariah Carey's, I think the year before that was really good.
I don't think I ever heard hers actually.
Oh, she does for the Land of the Free. She does a whistle note.
Oh,
and it's just it's so good. More recently, Jasmine Sullivan, she did the national anthem. I love Jasmine Sullivan.
She should have done it by herself.
Yeah, she should have, but it still sounded really good. She sounds amazing. So I think those are some renditions that I particularly liked. But I love when someone can because Whitney is just the standard.
Yeah,
it's so hard that someone comes up and they're like, all right, let me try and do this. But I love Beyonce doing the national anthem during the Cowboy Carter tour.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the beginning, like the second song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like Mickey Guyton at the Super Bowl. Was it last year? 2 years ago?
Oh, that's your girl. I forgot about her.
I love Mickey Guyton.
I forgot about her.
I love Mickey Guyton.
Yeah.
I saw her at ACL.
Then you saw her here too, no?
At the rodeo? At the rodeo. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's because remember when you saw her, I was like, who's that? And you were like, you don't know who she is? I'm like, no. She's at the San Antonio rodeo. No one knows who she is.
I would say, honestly though, I was so sad at I have my own, this is my own assumption.
Yeah.
But she's black. She identifies as black. She's a woman and she's singing country.
And so she identifies as black. She's a black woman.
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to be politically correct here.
No, she's a black woman.
On an American but gay podcast.
Go have at it. Sorry.
No, but at the rodeo, I was like, oh my God, why aren't more people here? Like San Antonio rodeo is always like
I think that's probably why.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter who's performing there.
They never just go.
Unless you want to sponsor San Antonio Rodeo, then everybody's always there, and we'll get as many people as we can.
We'll
fill it up. We'll be Pride in February, but it'll be good.
I think looking back at it,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where that came from. When I went to go see her, I remember feeling pretty very patriotic in that sense. Because I just love her, and I think she sings so well.
Yeah,
she's so underrated to me.
Yeah,
like in the general public, I'm like, she's so underrated. She sings amazing.
Yeah, and just thinking about patriotism in general, and thinking about national anthems, I think another moment when I felt really patriotic. I know I'm just sort of diverting here, but another moment where I felt really patriotic is when Biden's inauguration during COVID. when I think that's what you were talking about,
Yes,
right?
the fireworks.
When Katy Perry sang Firework. And she's like, remember it was during COVID, so it was like I cried like a baby.
Yes.
I cried like a baby. And I don't think that I cried. I think I cried because of what was over, not because of what was starting.
Yes. Yeah.
Walk with me here.
I thought you were talking about COVID. I was like, no, it had just started.
No. It was because of what the transition that was happening.
Yep,
that
yep,
I was like, oh, okay.
Now we're here.
That moment was so, I know. And now we're back.
And now we're here. That's all right. Never mind. But yes, I remember being at home and my husband and he was crying. But you know me, it takes a lot for me to cry. But I remember feeling
stop being a little bitch.
But I remember feeling so patriotic in that moment.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I had my my very unrealistic or my thoughts about the money, but like in that moment, like just the beauty of it all. Like, and Katy Perry, I like her.
Yeah.
I actually really like her.
I love that song.
But that song and the way she sang it, like for that.
She never hits those notes. And that time she was
and
like,
it was cold.
and you know it was cold outside.
Yes.
Like she was like in layers. I'm like, they must have had a heater on there because she hit those notes
flawlessly.
I'm like, wow, that moment. And then I remember when Beyonce sang At Last at the Obama inauguration, watching it with my dad and feeling so patriotic in that moment because of what the song meant. I mean, it's a love song, but in that moment it was at last about like, at last we've reached this pinnacle, right? Or this moment in history. So that was a moment too. When Obama won, I remember when he won for the first time, and like, I don't know why I have this image stuck in my head, but they like pan to Oprah and she's like crying in the audience while they're like announcing him as the winner. In Chicago. Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Those are all moments that kind of stick in my mind about like being really patriotic and how it feels to be, really proud of this.
This is going to sound maybe a little controversial, maybe not, but I also know, or I also remember another time where I felt pretty patriotic. It's going to sound weird. When we got Osama bin Laden.
Oh my God. Yes.
I was in college. Yes. And I remember
I was studying for finals.
Yes. And I remember I was in the dorm room and we were running around the hallways with flags.
Yep.
And I'm like, the fact that we murdered somebody, killed somebody, it was all necessary.
Can I check you?
Please.
We brought justice.
Yes.
Because and we recently watched the Bin Laden documentary, which on Netflix.
It was so good.
Well, Netflix ain't paying for this. Never mind. It's not. I don't know what station it's on, but they talk about how when that did happen, no one really cheered. It was just like an exhale.
Sigh of relief.
But I do remember in the streets and like people were like, I remember being in college and they put it on the screens and it was like finally, because it took like 10 years to get him.
Right. And and I never really thought about it like back then because I wasn't really into. I knew what had happened
to
in
America.
Well, like the history.
You're not into your country.
I was just like I never understood why it didn't happen.
Why? What didn't happen?
Like what took so long? Like
they couldn't find him.
I know, but I didn't know that. No, I'm saying like I wasn't in the. I wasn't in the know. Yeah. Like in high school, middle school, high school.
Yeah, they were just letting them like.
I just didn't know what was happening, and I was never the person like into the news. Like I never watched the news, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it was really kind of, I loved that because I was able to find out or like really recognize like what was happening. And then the fact, like just the way that they did that on Netflix was beautiful. Like with the people that they had on it.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
The analysts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but thinking about like gays too, we'll go into it in our next segment about like a moment that we specifically as not only Americans, but as gays felt really patriotic.
Yes.
Now back to what I was saying before. This month, which I can't believe, this month that just passed in June, marks the 10-year anniversary of when marriage equality became the law of the land in the U.S. Can you believe it? It's been 10 years.
That is wild.
Yeah. Where were you when it happened?
So I was in Chicago. I was already with my now husband. I was with him and we were living in Houston, but I was in Chicago for the summer for an internship. And I remember being at the office and hearing about it or learning about it. And I remember I started crying. I was like, holy shit. And then I went to my boss's office at that time and I was crying to her. And I was like, I'm so emotional. I'm like overwhelmed with joy in that. I was overwhelmed with joy in that moment.
Yeah.
Just because it was like, I'd never thought we were going to get there just because it was just, it almost seemed unattainable to me at the time.
Yeah.
And so when we did, I was like, it was a very overwhelming sense of happiness in that sense.
Yeah.
And I felt I remember also feeling bad because I couldn't share it with my now husband at the time because I was in Chicago and he was in Houston.
Oh.
And that was just like a small thing. But I was just like, damn, I wish I could be with him in this very moment. But
try not being out.
Where were you? You weren't out that time.
I wasn't.
Oh, that's right.
I was out to some people, but yeah, I wasn't out like fully. But I was actually in front of the Supreme Court when it happened.
Damn.
I was working on Capitol Hill, and we had got notification that it was coming, that the decision was going to be announced.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to go outside in case it happens. And so my coworker, who became one of my closest friends, who's now an elected official in the state of Washington, who I'm so proud of.
Yeah.
She was like, go, I'll cover the desk. Go.
Oh, okay.
And I wasn't out to her yet. I think she knew, but I wasn't out to her yet. And she just was like, I'll cover your spot. Cause I worked in the very front office. So I had to no one had to, I couldn't just leave. And she was like, go. And I went by myself, and I went with some friends, but they met me there. And I'll never forget it, that I was in front of the Supreme Court when they announced the decision. Cause they have the running of the interns.
Yeah.
So the interns were running, but we all found out on our phones before we found out on when they ran out, because people were posting. But it was magical. It was magical. I felt so proud to be American.
Yeah.
I remember the gay bars that night were wild. You couldn't even there were lines. It also happened to be, that was Pride weekend.
Yes.
So the lines happened to be really, really crazy, around the block, just to get in. So it was a whole kind of moment. But that was a moment where I felt particularly proud. And I think about America. I think the country has changed a lot since then for the better. I'm not saying we're perfect, but I do think that people are a lot more accepting about that since that happened. Because remember, there was an entire uproar about the fabric of America is going to fall apart, and the things that but that's what people were saying. They were like, we're not going to be a civilized country anymore, which is not even true. If we're not civilized, it's not because of marriage equality. I can point to about 9 other things that can show you. But I remember when that happened, people were saying that, and I love the way that it's been able to adjust since then, and how people are much more open and respectful to people of the community since then.
Yeah.
And it's still, I remember that was a particular moment. And then also in 2020 was when there was a second decision of the Supreme Court, but specifically about gender equality. And it specifically said that you couldn't fire someone off of the basis of sexual orientation.
Yeah.
That only happened in 2020. So only in 2020 is it illegal to fire someone because they're gay. But before that, it wasn't. Which is wild.
That is. And because I was working before, and I didn't know that.
Right.
Until it happened.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, that was a thing? Which is a very privileged thing, I guess, in the sense I worked with individuals that fully accepted me.
Right.
But I also went in knowing
But if they wanted to, they wanted to, we'll talk about that. We're going to have an episode about work, but if they wanted they could have done that. But I think about those decisions that make me feel really patriotic. But then, what are you laughing at?
Patriotic.
Every time you mess up, I'm just gonna push a button and just laugh at you.
The times of you roasting me in just this episode,
you're right. You get to
roll back the tapes.
You get to release the tapes. But are there moments where you particularly weren't proud to be an American?
I think, sadly, that overwhelm. It's more than feeling proud.
Yeah.
I think just because of certain moments, and it fluctuates. I think also as I've gotten older, I've definitely become more in tune or aware of politics.
Yeah.
Growing up, I was never. It was kind of growing up. It was kind of we don't talk about two things at the table: religion and politics, right?
Ooh.
Well, granted, we talked about religion all the time, but not in a bad way. But
no, but you don't hate on the religion. That was the rule. The rule was never that you can talk religion. It was we're not talking about a difference in religion. Is always what the thing is. And that's most people say that. They don't mean that. They don't mean you can't talk about religion. They just mean we're not going to talk about the differences.
The differences in religion. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it, but it was we really didn't talk about politics ever. So growing up, I never really understood a lot of the things that happened. I never understood how influential and impactful politics is on my individual life on a daily basis, really until recently.
Yeah.
Probably in the past 10 years, I would say. Maybe in towards the end of college also. But
you also went to a really activist university. UT's a really activist university.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, even now, there's a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
With everything going on, things that have happened recently, the protests on the campuses and everything. UT is very much like that. And Austin itself is just a progressive city, and it's very blue.
Mm-hmm.
But all that to say, like, I think being aware now, I feel there are a lot of moments where I'm like, I don't like this.
Which one sticks out to you the most?
I just think what's happening recently, like a lot of the things with this new administration, like I just don't feel proud. Like a lot of the decisions I just really don't get. Yeah. I'm like, make it make sense.
It's not supposed to make sense. That's the point.
But I feel like, where are we going? That's where my mind goes to. Like, where are we going as a country? And that's why, like, sadly, like there are times where I just don't feel proud. Yeah. Not that I just don't feel proud. But I'm not even going to try to deny it. But yeah, like, and then also as it relates to me personally, or like directly towards me or people within my own community, like, I just don't get it. Like, I'll talk about that later, actually, because it's going to go into our next.
You're good. I think for me, when I don't feel the most patriotic, I think of specific moments. January 6th was really tough for me.
Oh my!
Because I used to work on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
And when I saw people just like walking past Capitol Police, I had my badge in my bag, and I walked through the security area with like picking up my bag, but I didn't have my badge. And a Capitol Police officer like pulled me back from my backpack and was like, and I'm like, you see, and one of his colleagues was like, no, he's good. Like we see him every day. The guy I guess he was in a different rotation. I would go into the same place. And so I was like, so when I saw that happen, you know, on January 6th, I'm like, wow. Yeah. And I was just watching it and seeing how it happened. And I didn't feel proud. I mean, that was probably the least proud I've ever felt in my country. And especially because of the reaction to it, how people just kind of brushed it off after and acted like it wasn't something serious. I'm like, that was a full on coup that was happening. And
even to this day.
Yeah. So I think about those moments. I think other moments like Charlottesville, when they had like the protests in Charlottesville, that was something that made me feel kind of, you know, that I really wasn't proud then either. So I can think of a lot of sort of little moments, but January 6th is probably the one that sticks out the most, where I'm like, it felt really like, where am I? Everything that I thought I believed in, it was kind of like all over the place. But but anyway, I guess that's the country we live in. And it's not to say, I think something I wanted to say specifically for this episode, it doesn't mean that we hate our country.
Absolutely
I think
not.
that I absolutely love where I live and I love that I'm from here. Yeah. But I think what makes a democracy and what makes a country like ours so great is when you question it and hold our elected officials accountable for the decisions that they're making. Right. And that is something that I strive to do often. And I think that's what makes you really American, is when you're constantly doing that. Like those are things that are enshrined in the Bill of Rights, the sort of like rights to petition. And it should be something that we're doing because that's really what makes us American. So anyway, I had to say that because I feel like a lot of people think that progressive people are, you know, sort of anti-American. No, I'm gonna call someone out on their shit if they're doing some stuff like that.
If it's shit.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where I'm at too. Like with everything happening, I'm just like, what? Yeah. Like help me understand if you want it to be a real thing. Right. Because it doesn't. Right. Like just point blank. Mm-hmm. But
anyway, well, let's get into I have a lot of things I could probably say for this, but now is the part of the episode. If you've been with us for the last few weeks, you know that we do at the end of every episode, Don't Piss Me Off, which is specifically something about the topic that pisses us off. So why don't you go first? Let's see what you got.
So I was trying not to get into it earlier, but don't piss me off. I think as it relates to politics specifically, like I feel like there's always one side or another that's always like freedom, like, oh yeah, gosh, like always about like the freedom and like, oh my gosh, we're a free country and everything. And then it's like, hold on, but you're also like trying to take away my rights. Like you're all about freedom until it's someone that's not you. Right. That's what pisses me off. Yeah. Like, a lot. And it's just like, yeah, we can all be free. Like I keep hearing, you know, and I'm sure I'm not going to be the first one to say this. And I've heard it so much. It's like, giving me a piece of the pie is not going to take something from you. Right. But yeah, like that just really like irks me. And like people, and especially now in what's happening now in today's administration, but like, it's really that, like it irks me so bad. They're just like, there are not enough words there are words that even right now I'm like getting frustrated.
I know, I can see, I'm like, ¿Qué tienes?
Because it really frustrates me. Like, and then it's especially the people on that side are just like all about it. And they're like, yeah, freedom, all freedom. And then they're like, oh, but if you're trans, you can't be in the military. Right. If you're trans, you have to play with your side or your biological birth, how you're born.
Your sex assigned at birth.
There you go. God damn, like
you're good.
I'm pissed.
You're pissed off.
Yeah, no, but like your sex assigned at birth, like you have to do that as it relates to sports, and it's like they're not good enough for one thing, but they're good enough for another.
Right.
Like make it make sense.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't make sense, which is kind of the problem. But for me, thinking about don't piss me off. If you care more about respecting the U.S. flag than you do about caring for the people that live in this country, all the beautiful people that live in this country, you're not patriotic.
At all.
You're not. That doesn't make you patriotic just because you like worship the flag. I think America's really weird about that, and our country is. And usually the people that are most like that are the ones that are sometimes like the most racist and
like cults,
care about like their own group of people more than caring about the people in this country.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that it's not, that we should get rid of the American flag. I'm not saying that at all. And I think that it does serve a place, in some locations, but I think it's just really weird and people like it happened a lot during the NFL when the football players were kneeling.
Oh yeah.
And they were like they're doing it against America, right? Yeah. And I'm like, no, they're not. Like they're standing up for something which you should be standing up for too if you really care about this country.
Right. Right.
But it was just that's just something that really pisses me off when I think about that because most of the people that do it are usually those types of folks.
Yeah, and it's like I know we are trying to take that back, like get the flag back because right now the flag, I think it's racism. Like when you see the flag. It's like people are like it's equated in some people's heads as like, oh, they're racist.
Yeah,
because like
online it does for me.
Yeah,
online when I see someone with the flag in their profile name, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm
gonna avoid.
Yeah, they probably want to commit a hate crime against me.
But it's true. Mm-hmm. But I love that. I also love that we're taking it back. We're trying to take it back.
Yeah.
Beyonce's helping us.
Yep. Cowboy Carter's doing it.
Back.
We're taking things back that belong to us too. It's not that we're taking it back from somebody.
Right.
They're not exclusive. As Americans, these things and these objects, which are just that, they're just objects.
That's all it is.
Are not exclusive to a certain group of people.
Yeah. So yeah, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. I hope you like the podcast. We always have a really good time talking and kicking and talking about real life shit.
Yeah, like, we're spending our 4th of July in DC, so we're gonna have a good little time. We hope you all sort of stay safe and be careful this weekend and enjoy the long holiday weekend. And we'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Thanks everyone. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Next week we're diving into something that hits really close to home: body image, but gay. We're talking about how we've dealt with it personally, how it showed up in our community, and the ways that we've started to learn to love ourselves through it all. Here's a little snippet.
And it got to the point where like my friends' parents were telling my parents or asking them if I was okay.
Did they ask you?
They did, but
your parents anyway?
Yeah, they did, but it was more of like, are you okay? And then they allowed me to answer, which I can respect.
Got it.
But it's like, I really wasn't. But I was just saying like, yeah, I'm fine. Like I just work out a lot and I watch what I eat.
Wow.
But watching what I eat meant like, I would just eat like yogurt 3 times a day.
We hope you enjoyed the episode. Take care of yourselves and we'll see you next week.